Right, and welcome aboard the Noose team.
Growing up, I remember watching Mat Yoyo, the two cats.
Triple Nine, Talentime was like really rah-rah about it. Everybody just watched it.
Rara show, Government's World, growing up, and of course, Under One Roof.
Long before your time.
Some people say I don't speak Mandarin, I learn Mandarin through TV shows.
有没有问题？
没问题。
Television has always played a part in my life until now.
Television definitely shaped my life.
Looking at the video brings a flood of memories for me because I was right here on the very first broadcast which was held here. I think it was Friday. I was 18 years old. I had come from school. When I arrived, it was packed. There were so many people here. And the first person to appear on television was our Minister for Culture, Mr. S. Rajaratnam.
Tonight might well mark the start of a social and cultural revolution in our lives. If used intelligently and responsibly, television can, far more effectively than any other mass medium, broaden the intellectual horizons of the ordinary man.
The minister spoke first. Then there was a series of screenings. There were some cartoons and there was news, maybe a documentary. And then there was a variety show which featured all four languages, English, Malay, Chinese and Indian performers.
In the early 60s, when television first arrived, not that many people had television sets. I think it was about 1 in 58 households.
1963 was the year in which Singapore joined Malaysia. And that was one of the reasons also why television was brought in just in time. Because people were already partly confused or partly anxious as to why are we joining Malaysia.
Fellow citizens of Singapore, we have proved in the last 2 years in the battle for merger in Malaysia that we have got what it takes to make our people great.
It is with this background that television was actually used by the government
To inform, to entertain, and to educate. These are the three pillars by which most television stations at that time would have stood by.
Today, I wish to discuss with you the importance of antenatal care.
So, if you obey the law, you don't have to worry about these radar eyes.
Entertaining, right? That's a really key pillar because once people get used to the sort of moving image and it ceases being a novelty, then people do want to be entertained. Otherwise, why would they watch television? So a sitcom like Pak Awang Temberang would have been one of those very popular ones because it was actually a local content.
When I joined, there was only one channel. The airtime for every unit is very limited. I joined the Malay unit and our airtime slot was from 7 to 8 p.m. So we have only about 1 hour.
Pak Awang Temberang was the first Malay drama series for, at that time, the television in Singapore.
Because of the Malay film world that was based in Singapore in the 40s and 50s, some of the people who were assistant producer or assistant cameraman grew up and moved over to RTS as senior cameraman, as a producers, directors.
Ready on one, camera one, can you please dolly in?
I think that's the reason why it's just a natural progression from movies to TV.
Okay, fade to black, fade on sound.
Most of the artists already passed on, and we only have Rahimah and brother Rahman still alive.
Wow, very nice. Very comfortable. It's a bit different, but still the same design. Beautiful memories. When I was 9, so now +6 in front. Pak Awang Temberang. Pak Awang Temberang is popular because the song everybody know, like Pak Awang, Pak Awang suka temberang dari pagi sampai petang, borak Pak Awang di sana sini. The show was about my so-called father was a kampung man. We are from the kampung, and then we went to town, like Queenstown, right? And that's where we lived in the flat. So the lifestyle, Pak Awang is still like kampung. His mindset is still like kampung thinking. I was a daughter, Pak Awang, and my brother Rahman Rahim was the son. We were small, and then got uncle, got neighbor, got everybody inside there. So it's like one big family, yeah.
In Pak Awang, we featured a family of 2 children. This is the government policy at that time. A family planning program, each family have to have 2 kids.
I think a good response, not even the Malays, because those years there was only one channel, right?
Pak Awang Temberang featured that kind of a sofa. And people at that time normally don't have sofa at home, you know. Even the Malay, they eat maybe a stool. And when we featured that sofa, well, everybody said, wow, it's something new. And it becomes so popular. I myself, my family, we bought one.
Along with the popularity of dramas at that time, the other big program would be variety shows. Talentime was one of the big variety shows. People were very excited about it.
Talentime, I think the focus was to find new talents because Singapore was quite young then and the entertainment scene had performers, but local performers were not so forthcoming. So Talentime was the arena where they were discovered.
And the winners of RTS Talentime 76, Vintage! The Broadway baby says goodnight, says goodnight.
We see winners who went on to become recording artists, and even some of the finalists also ended up as recording artists. So I think it was actually a very important avenue whereby local talents were being nurtured from young.
It gave birth to people like Peter Chua.
How are you?
How are you, sir?
Long time no see.
Have a seat, have a seat.
Good.
I was a finalist in the 1976.
It's hushed and white with snow.
How does it feel like being a Pink Panther?
I feel great.
Back in 76, I was 10 years old.
You are very, very naughty, running around shouting here and there, and I scolded you.
Well, I believe that's nothing new. So from young, I started playing the bongo when I was about 3-4 years old. Then my mom switched me to xylophone, blowing the flute.
4th position, the Pink Panther theme.
We were first in the group section, but overall we came in 4th.
Then I was behind you. I 5th. I tried again in 1978. Then came this lady by the name of Faridah Dollah.
I say shame, 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 shame.
She won the first prize.
I remember her very, very well. Very, very good singer.
What song did she sing?
She has this husky.
Here's your sausage.
Oh, Kak Faridah.
Hey, Faridah!
Still remember me, right?
Of course, I was talking about you. We're still looking good.
So, Kak, I was wondering, how did you get around joining Talentime 78?
We saw on TV one day that, there'll be a Talentime, I love singing. I just want to get the chance to perform. So So I asked my parents, I said, may I? Then they said, since when you sing? Because they've never heard me sing before. Even until today, nobody hears me sing in the house. I practiced outside after the Talentime. I got offered to do recording, but I didn't do it because, my grandparents didn't allow me. So after being in Singapore for a while, and doing TV shows and all that, I got an offer to go to work in Scandinavia with a band. I was based in Stockholm.
After the Talentime, I got a contract from SBC as a singer.
I joined a band working in clubs locally in Singapore and abroad. Indonesia, Taiwan, Sri Lanka. We traveled to Vegas, we performed at Caesar's Palace.
I think we serve Singapore in a way that we go with Singapore Tourist Promotion Board, represent Singapore to sing, food festivals and all that.
Very excited Peter Chua in 5th position with 28 points.
Talentime has paved my way into music, and I thank Talentime for it. Because of Talentime is what I'm today.
Yeah, what we are today.
Only you can make all this world seems right. Too much something, sorry.
Can't stop me now. Hear what I say. My feet wanna move, so get out my way.
Okay, tonight 8 o'clock first set with me, okay?
Okay, now your turn.
You still have it. You still have it. My wish is that Singapore, please start again Talentime. So hopefully in 2026, we are the 3 judges for Singapore Talentime. What do y'all think?
Tengok.
Oh no, you can't ask me that question. The longest yaya that I work with is...
Kawan lama, kawan baru, bergembira ayah dan juga ibu, Yaya dan Akona.
Mat Yoyo started in 1983, and I joined Mat Yoyo when I was in primary 2, 1988.
Kucing-kucing Mat Yoyo bersenam ni nak masuk sekolah Olimpik ke?
And I was the longest serving male cat in Mat Yoyo.
Sedang berlatih drama.
The show comprised of essentially 2 hosts and 2 cats, Yoyo and Yaya.
John, macam mana ni? Yaya tak tahu. Macam mana nanti?
The show format comprised of song and dance performances, quiz, a skit, and the engagement with the studio audience because it's recorded in front of studio audience.
Motor?
Bagus adik. Dapat kumpulkan 5 perkataan. Jadi yang menang ialah kumpulan merah.
Well, it cannot compare with Sesame Street. At least it's going to be somewhere there. We have to have something local for people to recognize.
Kau nak lawan dengan aku pakai rantai kecil?
I think what's important then and more important now, to ensure that our kids speak the proper Malay, grammatically correct Malay. It was our duty as producers of the program to ensure that the Malay language remains not at purest but at standard Malay is being used.
Cakap le, bukan nak tolong cari Maafkan Yoyo. Maafkan Yoyo.
Mat Yoyo was the only local children's program back then for our audience of different races. So even though it's in Malay, my fans who are Indian or Chinese will sit in front of the TV and watch it, because I guess they can relate to the skit, to the game segment, to the song and dance performances. Yeah.
Who was your favorite cat partner?
Oh no, you can't ask me that question. The longest yaya that I work with is Faridah Dollah. I call her friend for lifetime, and I worked with her for about 5 or 4 years.
Come on, close your mouth lah. Why so big?
Oh no! It brings back memory. Help.
Stop.
Okay, wait. Why am I getting more?
Because you love me, right? That's why. Kawan-kawan, Yoyo dan Yaya nak jumpa saudara-saudara kita. Betul tak? Betul tu. Kita dah rindu pada mereka tau kawan-kawan. Kita dah lama tak jumpa mereka. Betul. Nak tahu siapa mereka? Marilah ikut kami. That was a long time ago. I was in Bengkel, and after a while doing shows as a dancer, suddenly I was called to be one of the Mat Yoyo cats. Ada Panglima. The role was with the partner cat. We are supposed to bring the cheekiness into the show. That's why we have moments where we would argue with each other, tease each other on the show. My fondest memory was the off-camera friendship that we have. That was the thing that I treasure lah.
Aksi Mat Yoyo, aksi Mat Yoyo, gembira bersama kami semua, kawan lama, kawan baru, bergembira ayah dan juga ibu, nyanyian dan lakonan, tidak lupa pelajaran. Yes.
In the 80s, we had some capabilities in terms of producing in the other languages, but it still couldn't feel like 5 hours a week of local Chinese dramas. If you look at the scale, you look at the kind of formats and the exposure that we had, Hong Kong was still actually the leader then, and that was when we had this very massive recruitment of people, especially from Hong Kong. The starting point, right, when we develop any kind of story was to think of what would appeal to our Singapore audience.
This man, this actor is not an actor, is our friend. But he looked like a crook. He said, come and act because you look like a crook. The first drama we watched on is Seletar Robbery. That was a real case of robbery. At that time, luckily, the police force also fully support us, so we can have their car, their men, even when we go outdoor shooting.
It was a landmark production in the sense that it got the notice of a lot of Singaporeans. People started to talk about that particular drama. And I suppose the fact that it was set in Singapore, something that people could relate to more, I think that really helped in terms of actually getting people to be interested.
Seletar Robbery was a blueprint for subsequent shows.
When it first started, SBC realized that drama series is where you could actually tell a lot of the local stories. The second one was the army series, which was Sing Ping Xiao Zuan in Chinese.
The Army series, again, a subject matter that was very, very close to the hearts of Singaporeans.
入伍服役，
入伍服役，
为新加坡共和国效劳。
为新加坡共和国效劳。
妈咪，拜拜。
Not to mention that in the 80s, as people were becoming more affluent, they were wondering, are we wasting our boys' time? Are we taking them out of potential to go to university, the potential to actually earn more money by holding them back for 2.5 years in national conscription?
Sorry. The Army series helped to really make Singaporeans realize that actually our Singaporean sons, when they are in the national service, there's something meaningful. There's something that is also part of their growing up.
别难为情，救人要紧，快点呀！哦，快！
我是在20岁的时候加入电视台，《新兵小传》是我的第一部电视剧，而且是完全没有演艺经验。
Yes, Corporal。
第8波道也刚刚在开始发芽，因为那时候他们一心一意的要把这个 Chinese 的 drama 作为一个观众所喜欢的一个 channel。因为那时候洪炳祥他刚刚得到了亚洲小飞鱼的荣衔，所以他们觉得新加坡应该要制作一部健康的题材，讲一个游泳健将的一个故事，所以我就去参演了。到今天他们还在叫我小飞鱼，有些人可能忘记，你叫王玉清。
Then what we have is a jump from there to the awakening. And that was actually created to coincide with Singapore's 25th anniversary. So it was to commemorate Singapore's coming of age.
I said hurry up! Excuse me, sir. She's a lady. Would you show more respect to her? 你别怕，我替你来，慢慢下，我帮你。
雾锁南洋是在1984年的时候开拍，
离开现在应该有40年了。
40年。
你是阿梅。
我在雾锁南洋是演阿梅嘛，阿梅呢就是从中国来到新加坡找她的老公。我的祖母本身也是一样，那当年她就是在中国呢，趁着这个大轮船来到新加坡找我的公公。
小姐，
少爷，少爷，你回来就好了。
我演庄元和，可能我爸爸这比较有钱的，然后就去外国留学，然后回到新加坡来服务民众。在戏里面，他本来是可以很好的为国家、为人民服务，但是刚好那个时候是战乱，所以就是形成了那个时候那故事里面我们南来的那些移民啊，是怎么样去从苦中得到生存，所以这个故事蛮感人的。人世间缠有多少离合悲欢生。到了晚上哦，街道上我们这街边就是小贩就没有生意了。在雾锁南洋播出的时候，哇，
对，
就都在家里看电视了。
你去到主屋的楼下哦，你一抬头，
你就听到那个声音了，因为全部人都开，然后你就是看那个主题歌就起来了，真的蛮震撼的。
Over a million viewers actually tuning on. They watch the program, and not only that, they will talk about it with their family. They talk about it with their friends. They may pick up the language, ways of relating to each other, part of the conversations, even the language, lingo, perhaps. So in that sense, it can create the sense of an imagined community, so to speak. Some would call it a nation.
那时候不只是华族观众哦，我看各大种族观众都在看。
是。
那时候的移民有马姐，还有山水，
对呀，这些都是对呀，这些劳苦大众都是啊。所以你看我们拍戏班是当年的，哎呦，
你叫我啊？
你叫我啊？哇！我跟你讲，你应该是有备而来，所以你要打扮到这么好就出席嘛。
没有啦，因为你们讲红头巾嘛，因为红嘛，我
对，
没
有，因为红头巾当年最红的就是你了。
我的一个转捩点来的，因为那个时候我刚刚也是新人嘛，我刚刚入行还不到2年呢。
哇，这么厉害！
对，我84年，
熬了几10年还没有红呢。
这群女人能干，而且能吃苦。
其实新加坡在那个年代，我们还是会看到红头巾的。
对呀，那个时候外劳还不多，
对，
就全靠他们的
红头巾、蓝头巾。
是的，真的很厉害。
我们的建筑都靠这些女性。
我们这个国家新加坡就是靠那些移民。
那个时候我们拍最大的挑战是因为没有假装，
会辛苦吗？真的
很重。
然后拍完之后，你的肩膀很厚。
我们肩膀全部是酸，每天，而且是真的搭那个景哦，就是一直这样搭，一条木一条木这样，就一直真的爬，一直真的爬。不像现在，如果有 CG 的话，有绿布景的话，可以 key 进去吧。那个时候我们真的是扛着这样上那个建筑的，其实是蛮危险的，一个不小心就这样滑下来了。那个时候。不容易，那拍的戏是每天都跟那些砖啊、红砖啊、沙啦、泥啦为伍。
我会回想我们那个年代的电视剧哦，真的很真实的，把那些就是先辈们的辛苦哦，真的是拍摄，所以我们也自己体验一遍。
对。
90s was a bit harder to push the boundary because we still had this group of conservative people.
Oh no!
We should not have pushed it. We could have just let it be like that.
The English drama has always struggled in comparison to the Chinese.
Chinese programming dominates. They have the largest viewership, they have the largest sponsorship rates, and so forth.
We're part of the pioneering group for English drama. Singapore had the first English drama, Masters of the Sea.
Grandmother. Panjang Umur.
Masters of the Seas was a very bold attempt, one of the first, English language drama. Its most quotable.
And then I want him crushed. Crush him under your foot like you would a cockroach.
Everyone, cites that so well.
Most people often cringe about is the Masters of the Sea. And yet we have some of our most illustrious actors, right, being in that series, demonstrates to us what was essentially not a problem with the actors or the story, but the incompatibility in the kind of social reality of telling that story.
For all that, it was highly criticized, for the language.
We were here on the night we got engaged. You were my girl from Hong Kong and I adored you. Remember?
No, I've forgotten.
We don't speak like that. And these characters, who are they? They're not like us.
All the way from Caldecott Hill, it's the Rara Show with Miss Lala.
So moving on, the Rara Show and Masters of the Sea are the two ends of the spectrum. It's a demonstration of us trying to find our feet of the English drama unit. I think the Rara Show was a very interesting, innovative format.
I'd like to return something I bought a couple of weeks ago. I'd like to return my husband.
I beg your pardon, ma'am?
This is customer services, isn't it?
Yes, it
Well, I
is,
want to
ma'am.
return my husband.
We all love the Rara Show. It was so funny, it was so risky. It was definitely pushing the envelope before anything else.
Now, the Rara Show is about entertainment.
It's about comedy. It's about celebrity. It's about the unexpected.
And it's about time we get started.
Okay.
Rara Show is a bit of entertainment skits, and I was like playing an agony aunt. People call me, but it's all planned. It's very skit-based show, but we pushed it a bit.
Hello?
Hello, my boyfriend and I, we only kiss, but I feel funny now.
Go and see your gynae.
Hello, my neighbor, he makes so much noise.
Call town council.
It was very successful. Too successful, too fast. We try to push the boundaries too fast.
Hobbies? Oh, I like to knitting, crocheting, leather.
You mean weaving and knitting leather?
No. Leather. It's for my dog.
In Singapore, you don't put it back, fine $50, no?
Atta,
Huh?
you put your one in my hole.
That's exactly the words. It became sexual. That's how Singapore is. Very open yet still closed. 90s was a bit harder to push the boundary because we still had this group of conservative people. We should not have pushed it. So, we got banned.
It's time for us to go.
Oh no! Many people probably would have liked for it to keep going. At that time, perhaps if it had been batched to a later hour, if we had been sensible about kind of putting it on a later time slot, it would have kept going.
With Rara Show, I think we were ahead of our time. But there were a lot of good things to take from there. The characters, the elements that work for audiences.
Think Highlands Morning Dew.
Try it, Mom, try it.
Very nice.
What did I tell you? And it's great for your health too.
When I was asked to do something in English, it was very challenging. I was the first one to cross over.
You make sure, if he tries to be funny, you hit him with a glass bottle.
My dad.
This is an opportunity for me to learn English at the same time to showcase that we, Chinese educated, are able to do English shows.
I'm going to tell you a story. Sit! This reminds me of the story of Gong San, the poet of the Tang Dynasty.
The show is about...
Hey, Dad.
You see?
Sorry,
what
I'm late,
What time now?
Hey, at least I show up, right? Where's the rest of the family? They didn't even show up.
The love of money is the root of all enterprise. Can I have the Mercedes?
What are you doing here? Why aren't you studying?
Yeah, I finished all my assignments. I've got time on my hands.
Now you've got this. Get to work.
Now you're a senior citizen.
Not yet.
And then you still like your young days. Alamak. Sorry. Always like that.
I haven't collected CPF yet.
Under One Roof is about a boss from a small mini-mart having a small, lovely family.
It was a wonderful show. The first English sitcom for how many seasons did we go?
8, I think.
You put a virus in my computer. I'm getting indigestion. I can feel it!
Why are you screaming
Back in the 90s, shows that were big worldwide were like Seinfeld and Friends. And for the English audience who were used to watching American shows and UK shows, it was very refreshing to see something that was produced locally in English.
I feel nauseous.
Another point is that the way we speak, the accent and the content is very related to our people.
Yeah, careful, Joe. You nearly hit my stomach, you know.
Sorry, Mr. Tan.
And then, of course, the neighbors. You know, we had multiracial neighbors, an Indian family, a Malay family, which is the daily life of Singaporeans as we understand it. Living in an HDB flat, 80% of us do.
Yusof made it,
Yeah. He said he made me kuih to keep me happy. The world's most annoying, inconsiderate, irresponsible, most hateful person!
Let me guess, but you don't quite like him, is it?
Those shows that became very successful, they all had this very local feel, be it Under One Roof, Phua Chu Kang, growing up.
Humor is a very difficult, probably one of the most difficult forms, right, that one can actually engage with as a filmmaker, as a content producer. Satire, again, is one of those things which are very difficult. People may get it and they may not get it. And I think the Noose attempted to do that, and it did that very well.
Welcome back to the Noose.
We started in 2007. I think we did our last season in 2016. So we've known each other for, 17 years?
I think we should call ourselves not Noose anymore. We call it Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow.
Moving on to our first story.
The Noose is talking about current issues.
Yeah,
and we're just putting some little parody of the Noose, which is a real life issue. Yeah. And there's a little bit of a dash of humor.
I'm going to write another letter to the management office. You just watch me.
We were very aware that we had to be careful with what we say.
The problem is
We are not glamour enough.
Some of the taboo topics are race, religion. Some professions as well, we don't make fun of, say, nursing or social workers because they're doing a noble job. We didn't comment on politics or politicians per se, but you couldn't deny that every facet of life in Singapore is governed by some policy. And surprisingly, people liked it. It was like a cult favorite.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
So I guess people are a bit more matured at that time, and I don't think it's about the audience maturing. I actually think the audience was very ready for the Noose. Even in the 90s. Okay, so nothing against the Rara show, right? But I think the Rara show was a particular type of variety show that we are familiar with, and it was pushing the envelope within that sphere. So people are like, I'm watching the same thing again, you're trying too hard. But the Noose was a totally different format, totally different environment, and it was a very fresh format, first of all. And within this format, we were pushing the envelopes. And then that got people excited, like, whoa, what is this? They were already waiting for it to come. I got comment from one fishmonger.
What?
Uncle.
What did uncle say?
Hey, how come you all can talk about government? Oh, yes. A similar thing, I think, for me, realizing when the show was quite successful was when a lot of Channel 8 superstars like Zoe and Christopher stopping me in the hallway and saying, wow, you're very good, you're very brave, no? You all talk about minister, all. And that was when I realized, we were doing something that was really grabbing attention.
Our national policy has always been and will always be about social cohesion.
My students, they love the Noose. Or those who used to watch it in the earlier generation of my students, they're often citing the Noose. Because in this sense, it allows us, to look at, a lot of these issues, policies, happenings around us, in a tongue-in-cheek manner and laughing at ourselves.
It was holding a mirror to society, I think, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And no one else really did that. I think that is quite magical.
Ta-ta.
Bye-bye.
Hello, 你叫做什么名字?
In the last 15 years, globally, we have had a turn towards mental health issue.
郑天才
妈妈，你来救我了！
I think we have garnered quite a bit of awareness on the special community.
With any stories, if you're telling something authentic, if you're telling something that resonates, I think it will find its audience.
After P4, we don't have time for all this la-di-da appreciation nonsense already. 100% focus in PSLE. Chiong ah.
The Lion Mums, it's about 10 years ago. That had a particular significance because it reflected a sort of social anxiety about the way in which we are dealing with education and responding to the challenges of education.
Wrong again. You forgot to carry the power over here. Very careless.
Lion Mums was a very personal story. I only have one child, and putting my son to primary school, I faced a lot of difficulties and frustration. And out of that, I wrote a concept that tries to encapsulate my experiences as well, the experiences of my friends and those very, very clever mums who got it all, worked out and knew how to work the system.
Just like the big fake mother!
There are different characters in the show that reflects the different characters in societies. We deal with very hard-hitting topics like teenage suicide. We talk about topics like sexual harassment, we talk about cheating, we talk about bullying, we talk about racism.
Get away from her! Oh my God.
So we don't shy away from all this hard topic, and we sort of told it in a way that is not sensational, we told it in a way that was real.
Hey, what's wrong? Nothing. And even if there was something, it's not like you to have time to listen to me anyway. All you care about is your stupid work.
We were getting personal messages from mothers who says, thank you, Lion Mums. Finally, I understand. I'm cutting down my son's tuition to half. We've got kids who wrote in, dear Lion Mums, I'm going to fail my PSLE. And you almost have to get the actors to write back and say, it's fine, PSLE, nobody looks at PSLE when they come to work. So I guess it's this kind of meaningful changes we feel that we effected.
It's okay, guys.
You have worked very hard. And you've made it through to your final paper. And that's something to be very proud of.
என்ன இதெல்லாம்?
ஆமா எனக்கு ஒண்ணு புரியல. என்ன ரெண்டு பேருக்கும் உண்மையிலே தெரியாதா?
அப்பா இன்னையோட 29 வருஷம்.
Ninjangal was a family story, and we decided on family theme because we feel that it gives scope to explore many domestic and social issues. You have a teenager who has issues at school and is into boy-girl relationship. You have a working adult who is dating an older woman.
தெரியும் நீங்க என்ன சொல்ல போறீங்கன்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். எனக்கு ஏற்கனவே கல்யாணம் ஆயிடுச்சு, 8 வயசுல ஒரு பையன் இருக்கான், நான் உன்னோட வயசுல மூப்பு, இதை பார்த்தா ஊர் உலகம் பார்த்து சிரிக்கும் அப்படின்னு சொல்ல போறீங்க. I know.
And then you have a daughter in marriage, but she's very insecure in the marriage because she thinks her husband is cheating on her. Basically, she's possessive.
நீ எல்லாம் ஒரு ஜென்மம்.
அப்பா
வாயை மூடு.
So we had very strong characters who connected to different stratas of the population. Ninjangal was catering to the masses and it was an instant hit, and that's when I think the dramas just grew. And for us, it's the social media played an important role because after every episode goes on air, people talk about it. A lot of reviews, comments. We also pay importance and see what we can learn from there. We take their feedback and along the way we tweak the story to cater to their needs.
Is it society or is it the show that's influencing? Which comes first? I don't think there is one answer to that. What writers put out there is what they have observed of society. And what society watches does in some way influence them, assuming that, hey, this is a norm, this is acceptable.
谢谢妈妈。
去哪？
爸爸有帮忙啊。
妈妈，哥哥欺负我。
我哪有？
别玩了，吃饭来。
Reunite is a drama that revolves around the special kid in the family, the youngest child, Tian Cai. So it's mostly speaking about being more understanding and accepting special and vulnerable people in our society.
阿女，
其实创造天才这个角色的时候，我们去访问很多有特殊孩子的家庭，然后我们去一些那些有收容这些孩子的机构，我们想要进入他们的世界，然后带出他们的世界给观众。
我去找阿女。
弟弟，妈妈煮饭煮得很辛苦，你怎么可以不吃呢？快点过来吃。
搞不好你吃饱饭，他就散步回来了。
之前我们是有做过很多关于特需孩子的戏，但是重心不在他们身上，都是一些配角之类的，或者一些支线。这部戏的比较不一样，就是以天才为中心，然后围绕着他，故事围绕着他发展。
放手！天才不要这样子，妈妈不是不让你养，会吵到邻居的，过来，会吵到邻居。不可以这样对妈妈，放手。
There were a lot of challenges. I think the first week was feeling very weird. I was still trying to get into the character. By the second or third month, I was completely into the character. There were nights when I go back, and then when I watched that scene, I realized that actually, being not comfortable, is it the correct way? Because their tempo and our tempo are different. Their different tempo might actually makes them turns out to be more different than others. There is always no right and wrong in acting, especially when it comes to them. So feeling uncomfortable and not confident and not assured might be the right way.
As we can see in the last 15 years, globally, we have had a turn towards mental health issue. And mental health has been one of the key issues that many people are dealing with. Disabilities across the different spectrums. And then it's no surprise that we see in local dramas, whether English and Chinese and all the other languages, also begin to deal with something like that.
真的有够笨的，居然抢一袋垃圾回来。
喂，你们怎么可以这样欺负我儿子？
我是觉得通过一部剧是可以改变一些人的看法，可以让他们注意一些特殊人士，或者说一些 社会现象需要去注意的，或者说自己可以献出一点贡献的地方。
给 baby 做。
We have garnered quite a bit of awareness for the public on the special community. Every day there will be like tons of Instagram tags to me saying thank you for showing their family.
Television produces, the kind of cultural realities around us. Over the years, created an archive of who we are.
The format that we had was groundbreaking in Singapore. The predecessor to a lot of the content that we watch now on social media.
我发觉到我们的电视剧到现在为止，如果真的回看的话，会让新的一代更了解我们当年的祖先是怎么样的在这里打拼，打造出现在的这样的一个新加坡。是不是？
The show itself is like a time capsule of everybody's life 30 years ago that you'll never have again, but there it is for posterity. So Dad, here we are, back in our old neighborhood.
Those were the days, and so many naughty things happening.
Really?
Really, of course. That reminds me of a story.
Oh, I just remembered I got
Stay here. Well, anyway, all the best to you.